The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom left me speechless. Kinda. That was sort of a clickbait title. Did I do a good job? I'm sort of new at this. Did I catch your attention with that crazy off-the-wall title? I don't know. But what I do know is that I couldn't think of anything to say about Echoes of Wisdom. It took me a while to beat the game. I spent a long time with it, and I didn't rush through the story. I didn't rush through the puzzles. I really made an effort to embrace this game, even during a busy part of my schedule. Even after 30-ish hours of playing the game, I don't really know what to say about it. I kind of feel mixed, I guess. So this is going to be not only a sort of review, but an exploration of my inner psyche to try to figure out how exactly I feel about the newest entry in the 2D Zelda franchise. I didn't write a script for this one, but I have a few main groups, main categories of things I want to discuss. And the first one is the performance. Look, the performance of this game has been talked to death, but there's a reason for that. It's really bad. The frame rate drops constantly. Look, I know nothing about game developing or coding or anything of the such, but they tried to shoot for 60 frames per second, and I don't really understand why. I mean, when it works, right? When this game is kind of in an enclosed environment like a dungeon, it looks really good and it runs smoothly. But whenever you're in the overworld, it is choppy, and I would say it kind of affects the experience, especially considering this game embraces open exploration. The past 2D Zeldas also kind of did, but not to this extent. The map is way bigger, there's fast travel in this game, and there's a ton of collectibles and little secrets to find in the overworld. But there was part of me that didn't really feel like doing all of it. Look, I didn't 100% this game because it's not the smoothest experience in the world. That said, I don't hold it against the game. I hold this against Nintendo. We're in what, year 8 of the Switch? This is 10-year-old. Okay, a little inside baseball here. There is a noise happening. Noising? I don't know what the verb is. Outside of my room right now. It sounds like someone's like, is that coming through? I wonder if that's coming through. It's annoying, that's for sure. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't hold this against this game, the developers, the coders, whatever. I hold it against Nintendo. The Switch is an 8-year-old system. It's 10-plus-year-old hardware from NVIDIA. We should have better. We should have a Switch 2 at this point, and this game should be running on it in 4K 60, no problem, or whatever. It's inexcusable, but not inexcusable for Zelda. Inexcusable for Nintendo. That's my take. It reminds me of, it's kind of weird to say it reminds me of, because this game came out after Echoes of Wisdom, but Brothership, the new Mario and Luigi game, which I just got today, that game also has issues in its performance. It's a little choppy at times. And whenever I do a video on that game, I'm not going to blame that game for the performance. I'm going to blame Nintendo for not doing even a marginal upgrade on the Switch because it desperately needs it. 2 of their 3 big games this holiday season have serious performance issues. That's like unacceptable. I don't know how we don't have a Switch 2 yet. I'm going insane. I'm like giving myself psychosis because of this. But the point is, it's a problem, but like I can't even be mad at Zelda for it. And I said it kind of made me not want to 100% the game, but it didn't hamper my enjoyment because I knew in the back of my mind, it's not Zelda's fault. It's Nintendo's fault. Anyway, ran over. Let's get into the actual game and gameplay. I want to talk about the combat because I think this is a big part of any Zelda game. And it's a part of Zelda games that, I don't know, I never loved combat in Zelda, I don't think, before Breath of the Wild. It was always fun enough and intuitive, but it was also rather simplistic. And even in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, it's not the most, detailed combat ever. And of course, Echoes of Wisdom radically shakes up combat, so I should like that, right? I should like the change. And I do, but I'm not totally sold on it. I think a lot of the time, combat for me came down to, okay, I'm going to use my sword fighter points or whatever until that gauge is down. And then I'm going to use, one of 4 or 5 enemies that are good for this situation. I think the big blue goblin one, that's a really good one. The spinny tree thing, that one I used a lot. Despite this game having a new combat system and being radically different from any other game in the franchise, there's not a ton of combat variety, I don't think. And maybe that's just me not being creative and wanting to get to the end of the dungeon. But I'm not gonna lie, there were times when I missed just being Link and always having a sword and a bow and bombs and a shield and being able to do all the stuff that you could in previous 2D Zeldas. Does that make sense? It might not make sense. I don't know. Sometimes my reasons for saying things and feeling things about games are rather irrational, but I don't know. I'm mixed on the combat. I would be interested to see an Echoes of Wisdom 2 to see how they would kind of build on this combat. But as it stands, I might do that noise again. I don't know. Remember when I said I didn't use a lot of the echoes in combat? Well, let's talk about the echoes because there are a ton of them. And honestly, I probably didn't find all of them in my 30 hours that I spent with the game. I spent a long time in this game, and I am sure I didn't find every single echo there is to find, which tells you how many they made for this game, which is really impressive. Just on a baseline observational level, it is super impressive how they coded or whatever. A lot of programming talk today, I'm sorry about that. How they coded all of these different items into the game to where you can spawn them anywhere. It is kind of like Minecraft in that way. You can just place something down. And for a Zelda game especially a 2D Zelda, that is crazy. I think it's the elevator, but it has never, that noise has never happened. That noise has never happened. That's why I don't use elevators. Fun fact, I hate elevators. They freak me out. I always take the stairs. I do not like elevators. And the ones in this building are up. Sorry. Bad word. They're screwed up. They're freaky. They barely open. I don't like it. Gosh, I'm just all over the place today. But I kind of have an issue with the echoes in general that I did with the echoes in combat. A lot of them just go unused. Sure, you use the fire slime to make fire. You use the rain frog to make it rain. There's some cool little puzzles with that. You use the bed for basically everything because it's the most incredible, versatile item of all time. But a lot of the items I just never touched. I don't think this is a huge problem in terms of the gameplay. I don't need every echo to have a super important use, right? I think there's some novelty in just being able to, whatever Zelda does with her stick, her wand, her stick. What am I saying? I think there's novelty to being able to do that with anything, even if it doesn't end up being useful on your adventure. But the reason this is an issue is the menu. The Echo menu is terrible, I'll be honest. It is my least favorite part of this game. Why is there no customization at all for this? I didn't find this to be as big of an issue in Tears of the Kingdom. I know some people also really hated this about Tears of the Kingdom, where you could only do 4 different things when you're trying to fuse stuff. But I never really found that to be an issue because the only time you're doing on the fly fusing is with arrows, and you can just go to most recent or most used, and you can get your fire and your ice and your lightning arrow in Tears of the Kingdom, right? But in this game, you are always using echoes and trying to spawn them at whim, and you're using different ones in different situations. So what happens is that you think of an echo you need, you scroll until you find it, you spawn it, either it works and you move on, or it doesn't, and you scroll for the one you thought also might work. It's like a classic Nintendo thing, making things harder than they have to be, but it really does take away from the immersion of this game for me. If you could pin a few echoes at the top, this problem would be gone for me. I know people who really hate this. I don't have that much disdain for this menu. I do think it's bad, but I can deal with it. But man, if you could just pin a few echoes at the top, or even like move around the order of the menu, I don't know. I think that would be a lot better. I also want to talk about bind and reverse bond, which in the trailers looked really cool, right? You grab onto anything and you can move it. You can move with it. I really thought it was going to be an awesome feature of this game. It's cool, but I think in practice, it is just okay. The trailer made it seem so easy and seamless to use the reverse bond feature, and I'm willing to admit that I'm just really dumb and I can't figure it out, if that's the case. But in my experience, I could not figure this out for the life of me. Like in the trailer, they show Zelda spawning a bird and reverse bonding it and flying through the sky. I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to do that. I mean, the bird just like flies around in a circle and you grab onto it and it'll fly kind of close to where you need it to go and then it'll fly back. I think you can also grab onto the bird and fly with it, but sometimes that isn't so easy and they often shoot right up to the top of the ceiling, so it's a little easier to grab them with the bind, but then they don't do what you want with the reverse bond. I don't know. Again, I might just be stupid. I'm willing to admit that. I'm not very good at video games. Shocking for a guy with a video game YouTube channel. I'm not very good at them, so this could be a me problem, but I didn't find it that dynamic in practice. Even bind, which seemed really cool in the trailer, they revealed it, is kind of simplistic. Like you kind of just use it to grab rocks and move them. I can't really think of another cool bind usage. Still good. It's a Zelda game, right? Like the mechanics of a Zelda game are always going to be good, even if I don't think these are great. But I'll be honest, I've kind of been a negative Nancy in this video, so let me be a positive Penny. Ooh, that was good. That was on the fly. We should use that more. Positive Penny. It's pretty good. Anyway, let me be a positive Penny and tell you my favorite part of Echoes of Wisdom. The story. First of all, you play as Zelda. That's awesome. We've all wanted to play as Zelda forever. You can finally do it. Cool. I love that. I was kind of worried though that because Zelda is the main character in this game, it would be kind of a kiddie version of Zelda, right? Not as serious, maybe. Kind of like the Princess Peach game we got earlier in the year, which I thought was fine, but obviously was a little bit simplistic. I thought maybe because Peach was the main character, that's why they made that decision. And I wanted a Peach game for a while, right? Super Princess Peach was fun, if a little weird. It took them so many years to make a new Peach game, and it came out and it was like, okay. This is not Princess Peach Showtime Zelda Edition. This is a real deal Legend of Zelda game with Zelda as the main character. It's not only not watered down or whatever, it's super dark. Like, it's one of the darker games in the series. It's kind of freaky, you know, when the rifts come and swallow everyone whole and then you jump into them and you see their like lifeless bodies floating in the abyss. Like, that's creepy. And I love that, right? That's super cool. And I'm so glad that Zelda got a game that was dark. I think a lot of us would have expected them to go in the opposite direction, right? She's the princess. She should do princessy things. No, it is a really cool concept and a really creepy concept, and I think that works to the game's credit. I think this is also one of the best Zelda games in terms of NPCs. Zelda games always have great NPCs, great characters, but this one especially, they are all just so lovable, so funny, so lively. I think they take a lot of time to flesh them out, which I like. I loved so much exploring all the towns. That was my favorite part of Breath of the Wild and Echoes of Wisdom, was exploring these towns, talking to the NPCs, because they were so lively, they were so cool to just explore, and I think that is the case in this game as well. It's awesome. There are so many funny interactions, so many cute moments, and there's Conte. He's the best character in the series. Conte is the best Zelda character of all time. I love him. I want him back in the next game. I want an amiibo of him. I love this guy so much. He's awesome. He's so cute. It's sad, but it's heartwarming at the same time, his story. I'm not gonna like get into it if you haven't played the game, but I love Conte. I love him so much. I love him. This could just be a 10-minute video of me talking about how much I love Conte. Like, he's the GOAT. I love him so much. If this is the only time we ever see him in a Zelda game, that is a crime. He's got to come back for the next 3D Zelda. Put him in the next Hyrule Warriors. I don't give a crap. I need Conte. Heck, put him in other franchises. Get him in the next Mario Party. I need Conte everywhere. Get him on a shirt. Get him on a mug. I love Conte so much. And honestly, this game is like Game of the Year just because of Conte. I don't even know why I'm complaining about performance and combat and mechanics, because the game has Conte. That's all it needs. The point there is, though, the writing in this game is awesome. The story is really cool. I'm no Zelda lore expert, but in my estimation, it seemed to add to the lore without messing it up or making it even more convoluted than it already is, which is a really big credit to Grezzo and the people who wrote this game, right? Because a lot of them hadn't worked on the Zelda series before, I don't think, and I think they nailed the spirit of a Zelda story. I think it's a great story. I think it's really well written. Again, the characters are awesome and really well fleshed out. Even if I wasn't over the moon with the gameplay in between the story bits, I loved the story bits. I think it was a really, really cool story for a Zelda game. So overall, how do I feel about Echoes of Wisdom? I like it. I don't know if that is gonna come as a shock because I kind of complained a lot in this video, but I really did like the game. Look, it's a 2D Zelda, so no matter what, I'm gonna like it, right? There's kind of a baseline level of quality that you get with Zelda, and this game more than surpasses that baseline level of quality. I have issues with it, and part of me does wonder if it would have been better if it was just Link using his sword instead of all the echoes and stuff, but the echoes are also what make this game unique, and the fact that you're playing as Zelda is what makes this game so cool and heartfelt and different. So even though I have issues with the new stuff in this game, I also appreciate it for being a different Zelda experience. It's the biggest shakeup we've gotten to the Zelda formula ever. I mean, you could argue it's a bigger shakeup than Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Overall, it's not my favorite Zelda game, period, but it's a really fun experience, and if you haven't checked it out, I think you should. Well, that's my review of Echoes of Wisdom. I really like the game. I think a lot of people would agree with me on that point, but that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this video with your friends. Comment down below what's your favorite part of Echoes of Wisdom, and also comment down below your favorite Conte moment or Conte personality trait, or what game you'd like to see Conte in next. I'll take anything Conte in the comment section. With that said, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.